Welcome, Melamed community. We're so glad to be back with you. I am Dr. Persharon Dixon, here with my good friend, Dr. Norma Mobley.
Hi, everyone.
We are here to talk with you again and excited about the conversation today. So, Norma, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about what's up with the shots.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, there's a lot of confusion taking place right now in regard to immunizations and vaccine hesitancy. And, you know, years ago when I decided that pediatrics was my calling, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be battling something like this.
Oh, my goodness, like seeing measles again?
Okay, right?
Chicken
What do you
pox?
mean again? I never saw it before, right?
Never saw it before.
Because why? We had vaccines.
We did. We did.
So we have a lot of preventable diseases that a lot of people who are in training or even in practice have never even seen before, simply because we've been immunizing against it.
Yeah, I think that even the kids now have never seen chickenpox.
They haven't. Right. I
Explain
have
to me
someone
that.
who's joined my practice, been out of residency for a year, has never seen chickenpox.
Wow.
Right. So, you know, why are immunizations important? They're important for the health and well-being of our community at large, right? I'm here to really talk about immunizations for our children, but you know, we do have vaccines in place for adults, like for
Exactly.
shingles, that prevents you having the shingles. Those are for those of us. Before we had the varicella vaccine, which protects you against chickenpox, we all used to get chickenpox.
Right.
People used to say, oh, you know, if one child has it, just put them all together, let them go through it at the same time.
Right.
Right? But not every child had an innocent resolving course.
Right.
I've taken care of patients before, I'm sure you have, where they've been in the hospital with full-blown infection throughout their body. They have pneumonia, they have sepsis from chickenpox.
That's right.
And then we have to think about our immunocompromised children and other members of the community, adults.
Well, I think that's where I feel like we've gotten away from looking at the community. You know, we've gotten very much into everybody's
Focused
out for
on
themselves.
self. That's
out for
right.
themselves, and not thinking about the folks who are around them. We used to be that community. What happened?
COVID happened. And so then everything about this became politicized.
Yes,
Healthcare should not be political.
it should not.
Immunization should not be political.
Right.
Your state has made a mandate where vaccines are no longer required
Right.
for school attendance.
And we
That's
will
been a
see.
prerequisite. And public policy implemented that for the betterment of the community.
That's right.
But now they're making policy to the detriment.
Right. And we will see what that looks like. And I tell you, that's when we began to not think about other people around us. And it's been a problem. And certainly, you know, when the leadership doesn't believe in all the science, all that we've done over these years, it's difficult. It's really difficult as a pediatrician
Right.
to feel like a young person might lose their lives because of something we could have
Unnecessarily,
prevented.
though. Unnecessarily. And then
Right.
you have individuals saying, well, I don't understand the technology. What do you mean you don't understand the technology? Do you understand the technology under the hood of the car? When you put the key in and turn the ignition, you go ahead and drive.
Right. And you know that it starts because all that work has been done.
Somebody
under
else
the hood.
did it.
Absolutely.
Not them, not you, not me, someone else. And you trust and believe, and you go ahead and press on the gas and you get to moving. You know, the mRNA technology is something so simple that people make it difficult. And then they decide, well, it's too difficult for me to understand it, so I just don't want to do it.
Right.
But I would say, you know, if I were to do something like this, what would you think about? And think about somebody with red and blue.
I don't know.
Costume.
Costume.
Red.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Exactly. Well, how do you know that?
because
your memory.
Yes.
Your memory. So all the mRNA vaccine does is create a memory in your body so that whenever it sees the villain, it attacks.
That's a good way to explain it. Now, everyone ought to get that. And that ought to, it can be simple. We can simplify it and make sure that everyone understands what exactly is happening.
I can remember, as I'm sure you can remember, before we had the Prevnar vaccine available, and we took care of perfectly healthy infants that came into the world, presenting back into the hospital with fever and meningitis, pneumococcal meningitis, and they would not always leave as the same baby
That's
they
right. Because
entered
we
as.
lose limbs, we lose ability
Hearing,
to think. And
right.
yeah.
And so now we have the multivalent vaccine that protects against that, and we no longer see that entity. It's not prevalent anymore either. Right. But, I have the interesting thing that I find it difficult to understand is how we have parents who are fully immunized that come in and say they don't want to immunize their own children, though they were protected. Nothing happened to them. Why wouldn't you want to protect your child?
Well, for some reason, they're thinking that they didn't need that in the first place. But we know that we have seen some pretty awful things in countries beyond ours. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes we're acting like a third world country. And when we don't have to.
We don't have to.
We have
the
means.
means.
And we have the means.
We have the means and the ability.
And the expertise.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. So it definitely is something to think about, and certainly even in adults, like you were talking about, the pneumonia vaccine helps so many of our elderly folks.
Right.
I personally don't want to deal with shingles.
No.
I mean, the people that are seen with that have had, just significant pain.
So not really, telling everyone my age, but yes, I have received my shingles vaccine.
Okay.
And I have had close friends of mine who did not, and they did succumb to that painful experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, it's some things are just easy.
The easiest thing to do is this. Make your decisions with your trusted healthcare provider. Okay?
How about that?
So in my realm is pediatrics. I say to you parents, have that discussion, that heart-to-heart conversation with your pediatrician. That's a relationship that should be treasured, where you and your pediatrician partner together to do what is best for your child. And you make those decisions together. Trust your pediatrician that they are going to tell you the honest truth about things and answer those questions for you so that you can feel confident that you're doing what's right for your child.
And those of you who are providers, we want to make sure that you're having those conversations with your patients as well, whether they be children or adults, but certainly in your adult population, you've done this work. You have been trained, and you ought to be able to share what you know to be the truth with them. Now, whether you want to space vaccines out, that's perfectly appropriate. But knowing what you know about how we have done in our communities because of vaccinations, that's something to share.
Correct.